This is the part 2 of the helper, and I'm combining all the words from John about who the helper is and explaining this text to you. What I did was I put all the text in order that you've seen last time, and I kind of cleaned up and did some editing. But I told you there was one more editing that had to be done, and that was in this group right here. I need to make it smaller so you see it as a group. And what you see here is what I'm removing in the blue and adding the word he, because this text has already been said, okay? In fact, when you see right here, this word, he shall have a soul for truth, with a soul for truth comes. So the thing here, I'm going to remove this text because this is one continual story now. And up here, when it begins, I will ask our Father to give them a helper, and he will have a soul for truth. So our Father is going to be asked by Jesus, and then the Father will give them a helper. And then down here, Jesus says, my helper, by my words, our Father will send him. So when you see these words down here, you can see that these are no longer needed. Oh, soul for truth. And Jesus says right here, ask, and he will have a soul for truth. Maybe I did do that. I'm forgetting a little bit what I'm saying and what I'm not saying. It's like the fifth time I'm trying to do this video. Let me correct that. This would be the fourth. But now that that text is removed, that's the final editing. And out of all the words that you've seen me remove to be truthful, and then seen me rearrange them, and I showed you how the words were going together very much like a puzzle piece to get a complete picture. This is the text that's going to be as put together as the helper, because it's the only text from any of the 4 books that talks about the helper. Now, when I first seen this, I didn't realize who the helper was until when I completed the story. I realized the story is me. And that's why I often say Jesus's prophecy is happening in your day, for the simple fact that Jesus says he'll ask our Father to give them a helper. Now, this is Jesus's prophecy right here. And by his help, I will be remembered forever. And this is Jesus speaking here. So, he will have a soul for truth. Now, I'm going to let you in on my life a little bit so you understand how these words are about me. At the age of 5, I vowed to our Creator, I will respect and honor him and always tell the truth. Since I've been 5 years old, I've always told the truth. Now, I can tell you I'm 66 in a month, but the object is that I have lied in my life, but I also went back and told people that I lied. When you're young, you're embarrassed because it's about yourself being something stupid, or you don't want them to know, or you're trying to cover for a friend or something like that. But I went back many times and corrected it, and no matter how embarrassed I got, or I needed to be able to say that I'm staying to the vow that I made to our Creator. Now, I can tell you that there has been less than 10 times that I remember blatantly that I have lied, and knowing that I lied, that I did not go back and correct. But it's a lot less than 10, or it's less than 10. So he will have a soul for truth. So this is my life. And really the word soul should be just a small s, and the truth, I guess, should be spelled out. Should be truth like that. Now, and still some in the world will not receive him. So this is Jesus telling them about me in the future. Still some will not receive him because they cannot observe him or know him. So now this sounds like even at my lifetime, at 66, I am still not being believed. But those in the future will not be able to observe me and know me. But there are some that have observed me. And this is coming up. Yet mine will know him because he will live among them. I worked in General Motors engineering facility, which is the largest in the world at that time. And there was 3,000 engineers, draftsmen, skilled tradesmen, and parts workers and stuff like that. And we had a free run of a building that we didn't really have to be here. If our work took us someplace else, we could be gone and come back. But the object is I worked in the most forward building of the automobiles. So I was always working on what we would call the lead car in the building that would be out the farthest years away. It started off at 4 years, then we went to 3 years. But the object was at all times, every 2 times a week, all year round, all the engineers would have to come out and work with me on the car that I'm working on. So many people knew me, and I was doing things that just were not normal. And that was our Creator's way of showing me off. Now, this is saying that mine will know him because he will live among them. Now, what happened at work one time, after 22 years of working with people, and then I'm telling them that I can remove words out of the Bible to make it better, and that is I was showing them the hidden formats by the first writers. Words, people I knew for 22 years, I could walk by them the next day and they didn't know me. This went on for about a month and a half, but until there was a guy there, a friend, he came over and told me he was dying, but he wanted to see what I had done because he had been reading about our Creator and wanting to know where he was at with our Creator. I had the text in my hand that I was working on, and I knew that was what he was seeking. So I gave him like 8 pages to read, and I had already edited it pretty much. He come back probably 10 minutes later and was just jumping for joy, and he said, "Do you know what you did? Did you know what you did?" And I said, "Yes, I did. It reads first person. It becomes very personal now when you're reading it." And he said, "Yes." He said, he said, all the other books, when you read them, it's like, I can't touch our Creator. He's just out of reach. I can't get in contact with him. But when I read this, he's inside me, and this is blowing me away. He was really fearful of our Lord that he could all of a sudden be that close to him, and knew that it was true to be fearful of our Creator. He went and told them, he made them go through the book to look at the text, what I done, and next thing I know, I got 30 people standing around me asking me if I'm going to proclaim myself as a prophet. I didn't at that time, because there were certain texts that describes I'm not a prophet. But when you understand a prophet is one who reveals the truth about Jesus, all the prophets before and after, and then me, all revealed Jesus as our King in heaven. Now, when it comes down to the text, it says here, Yet that day, that's this day going forward, they will know I am with our Father, and who obeys my commands and keeps them trusts me. And what I taught you, they are to live by too. I'm using the word to right now as added text. It should be like this. I'm still debating whether I should put the word to there or not, but and my helper, by my words, our Father will send him. For my name, he will teach them everything by bringing forth, for their remembrance the words I have said. All the editing that you ever see me do or on any of my videos, it's always me explaining to you how I have to be true to the word and have to say, these are the truthful things that I know of that our Creator has given me. Because some things he's given me are outside the text of the book, of what's ever in the Bible. But the thing here is by re-editing this text, I'm bringing forth for their remembrance for today and forward the words I have said. So in other words, Jesus is saying that the text, this helper, me, this is the text you're supposed to forever believe. You can throw out all Bibles after you're done, because if you haven't noticed, I tell you how they are evil, and they are writing those their words in for their god or goddess into the text. Now, I'm not going to read through this text because this is not really speaking of the helper, but it would flow as Jesus would be the one talking to the disciples after he has come back. And that goes to these words here. Our Father, whoops, I need to add the word has here, has glorified me. And this means he's already been given his kingdom in heaven. And now he's back talking to the disciples. And these will be the last words of the 4 books that I'm putting together, because this speaks to Jesus returning after he's been glorified by our Creator. And as you read the text, you'll notice how many verses are just out of order here to make this read. But when you read it, it reads like that's the way the text should be. And that's what's unique about the truth, and how our Creator can take all these verses, let me correct them, and then all of a sudden put them together that sound just so good. It's shocking. It's shocking. But this is the only verse here that seems to be reading out of place. Doesn't really connect, but it kind of does. Okay. And then this here is like the next thing he's telling them, and he's leaving them. And then these were some of the hardest words because they were kind of scattered throughout and they needed a lot of cleaning up. But now I must tell you, this will happen. The pagans ruling the world will come, and not one will be for me. And mankind will make mine outcasts, and those who kill mine think they are doing a service for their god or goddess. Now, the word God was there. I'm adding the word goddess because I'm been given this knowledge. And the knowledge that you see in the videos, though, that all that knowledge was given to me to correct these words and make sure these words are here. Those who hate our Father hates me, but when my helper comes, he will bear his witnessing of me. Now, I keep telling people in the description below, there's the first video talks about witnessing the afterlife. Now, in that video, I also talk about how our Creator made me his witness that Jesus exists. I think I'll get into that a little late or at some other time in the videos, but the witnessing I want to talk about, it comes out of that video, but that video also is what our Creator gave me to now take your belief to a trust. For if it's for males, and I'm sure science will catch up, that females will be able to do the same thing, become aware that their soul is in another dimension of time and space, and in this known dimension as the abyss, which is described, and I've tried to make sure that I've said that many times before, and how that's connected as the abyss, and to witness those there. There is an afterlife, because they call themselves gods, and they're the ones that have um, uh, lived on earth and then died. And a lot of them have to have this so-called sexual meditation practice. Now, that is, and in there I tell you that our Creator, from his light came out a cross. That is how I am made his witness that Jesus exists, and that goes to these words right here. So if somebody else comes along and tries to claim they're the helper, that's not going to work, because the text I'm going through and pointing out what Jesus specifically is saying, I'm telling you about my life. And if I go on here a little bit, and just like I have taught mine from stumbling from me, he will guide them in truth about me, and truths about me. And if you watch these videos, that's consistently I'm hammering on what is true and what needs to be in there as true. He will not speak on his own. He will not speak by his own wants. There are many times that you hear me throw out verses and tell you why, but you also hear me saying there's many times that I could take these verses and make them truthful, but they would be my words and they wouldn't be Jesus's words. To keep Jesus's words is the goal, because the next verse says, he will speak and reveal them what came from me. See, not from my want, but what the text is saying, what text we have left, and what our Creator has left us. When you see these verses going together like a perfect puzzle, only our Creator can do this type of thing. And then the editing that he's given me, because I am Jesus's prophecy, and I've told you all these things, and I will speak and reveal them of what came from Jesus. And just Jesus would be saying me at that time. So all the text is referring to what Jesus is saying at his time. And he will respect me and not take mine from me, meaning I will not mislead you. I am here to reveal the true truths of Jesus. Now, and he will declare to all of them, all our Father has done for me. Now, what does all mean? It means the Hebrew text, okay? Everything that our Creator done in the old so-called Hebrew text, or the Old Testament, but I call it the Hebrew text, you will see that our Creator has had a plan for us, to those on earth who willingly, by themselves, in the text that he has revealed, in the text I am revealing, is for us to enter into heaven, okay? And you have to know all his promises, and that's very key, because if somebody said, why do you think you're going to enter into heaven? You have to tell them all his promises he's made in the Hebrew text, and then when you get to knowing Jesus, the 4 books here put together as one tells the story of Jesus. They're all one promise from our Creator, okay? And then you can see the text here saying, yet the world will know I obeyed our Father, and our Father gave me a command. Even though they are coming, I will ascend to heaven. And now I will ascend from here. So Jesus is telling them pretty much his last words here. And when you read this in first person, you will understand the feeling that my friend had and the feeling I get when I read the text. Now, everybody's going to be at a different level of learning because it's between you and our Creator how you're getting to heaven. So you don't have to know everything I know. What you have to do is, by your own will, do what the text tells you to do and do the best you can. Okay? Um, and then you can see that Jesus's last words here are about he is the truth vine. He is the one who's revealing and then sent me to reveal all the truths about our Creator's promises for us to enter into heaven. So when it gets down to what or how people should respect the text from now on, don't edit anything. All this text is encrypted like you wouldn't believe I told you. That's at a whole nother level of understanding. Because in order to call and make believers of what whom are known as Taoists, they have a repeatable practice that's been going on since before the flood, and their way of life is they've searched out unbelievable answers. If I told you the answers, what they've done about all the knowledge that they have of about this meditation sex practice. And when they come and see the text that I've done and let them know, because a lot of that text that's in here was wrote by them. For example, in the 1611 preface, it tells you that they tell you that the text was out of their hands for 100 years. Well, when you come in here and look at what I know about their practice, and I just told you they averaged 1,000 years for male life on earth. In Revelation, when it says 1,000 years of peace, that's what they're talking about. But the ones that are writing and editing today still don't know that that's the kind of knowledge that those guys put in the text. They don't know that's true, or they don't understand the truth of what's there. They who are doing the Taoist thing and have the belief, they are male virgins who have lived life to be truthful as much as possible. They can live not harming, not doing evil, not talking bad. And they understand by doing this truthfulness that their mind is giving what some people call predicting things. Well, predicting things is just a side effect of always telling the truth. But when they come and they see that I know what their text is, and I'm taking it out of their text or out of the text and putting back the truthful words, because it's just it's easier for them to understand when they hear me say things like this, that they will now say, well, then this really happened. And then when they look in the text and they read it and understanding that the guys from the East came over and grabbed the text and edited in a lot of their stuff into the text. That's why don't touch the text. I don't care who you are or whatever in the future, whatever you think you are, do not move any of the text. I will still be editing the text until I die, but the object is this is encrypted to declare and explain the true truths of Jesus. Okay. Other than that, I'm going to go finish the rest of the text, but I wanted to make sure this video got done in order of when it was right there, because there is no more text about the helper. And well, it was right here in my mind because I just edited all those words in and out of the text. So I just wanted to make sure you understand what I'm saying to you. Other than that, read, obey, and live your life not as a belief, but as a trust.